Hey guys and girls, Fishfinder Coach Hugh Cosquela. In this quick video, we're going to be talking about the differences between the ActiveTarget 2 transducer and the new ActiveTarget XL transducer by Lowrance. I'm making this video as new information is coming out, so if there's something new, please let me know in the comments below and I'm happy to make another video. But this is the information I have available to me from the new press release that Lowrance put out about their new forward-facing transducer. Now, there's some similarities and then there's some differences, and we're going to get into them. The number one difference for me between them is going to be the beam coverages and the beam cone angle. Now, the beam coverages is how much water we're covering. With the ActiveTarget 2 transducer, we're covering about 135 degrees. Now, that is going to be in the forward mode, the down mode, and the scout mode. This is where we see the white lines intersecting on the screen in all three of those modes. And this is why we have black areas in the top left and the top right of our down modes, and then black areas in the bottom right and bottom left of our scout modes. That's why there's a little bit of black area on the left side of our forward mode, but that kind of depends on our settings. With the new ActiveTarget XL, we are now covering 180 degrees of water. Where in down mode, we're not seeing any of that black area. We can actually see all the way up to the surface in front of the transducer and behind the transducer. For our scout mode, we can see all the way to the right and all the way to the left, 180 degrees of the direction that forward-facing transducer is pointed. And then it's not going to matter as much in that forward mode. We can start to see a little bit further behind us, but typically we're using the forward mode to kind of see in front of us. But there is a difference in the cone angle, which is how wide that cone is going to be shooting out into the water column. I'm going to put a table up here on the screen that's basically be talking about the coverages of that cone. The ActiveTarget 2 is going to come with an 18-degree cone angle. The new ActiveTarget XL is going to come with a 20-degree cone angle. A bigger cone angle means we're covering more water, we're picking up a little bit more information, but it's not going to be as precise or as clear in some of the modes. Now, the forward mode is what most people really use the forward-facing sonar for. So what this is really going to mean for me, with the smaller cone angle, I'm able to tell precisely my lure and that fish are on the exact same line. I'm not going to have the problem of I see my lure and I see that fish, and that fish may not see or may not feel my bait. I'm going to be on the wrong line. That's typically where I'm going to see that in the bigger cone angle, the 20-degree cone, which is the new ActiveTarget XL, which is the same as the Garmin LiveScope cone angle, 20 degrees. What I see with this sometimes is I can throw and see my lure and see that fish on the screen at the same time, but they could be off. I could be behind that fish. I could be coming on the side of that fish where that fish may not see and may not feel my bait as easily. That's where that bigger cone angle can hurt. But to me, I do see a benefit of it when I do use Garmin LiveScope, where I feel like I'm able to tell what direction that fish is swimming a little bit easier. I feel like I am able to pick up my lure a little bit easier. So wider cone angle is not always bad to me. I actually see it as a benefit. And one of the reasons that I feel like I prefer Garmin LiveScope over ActiveTarget 2 right now. So what is that difference in the beam angle going to show us in down mode and scout mode? In down mode, it's going to be the same thing as forward mode. We're going to be able to pick up our lure a little bit easier. We're going to cover a little bit more area on the bottom, but that may mean that we're off to the side, left or right of that fish, and they may not be able to see our lure near as easily. Now with the scout mode, what this is going to mean is we're pointing down. Now we're getting a wider cone angle. That way we're actually able to see a bit further or a bit higher and a bit lower or a bit deeper actually. So we're actually going to see a little bit more bottom coverage when we are looking at the bottom on scout mode, or if we're in suspended fish area with bait fish and pelagic fish, we're going to see a little bit higher and a little bit lower in the water column. Previously with ActiveTarget 2 and that 18-degree cone angle, you would start to see some noise at the very edge of your screen and some noise very close to the transducer. Just because the cone couldn't cover that water, you have to be able to adjust your transducer positioning up and down a little bit and change your range depending on what depth you're in to really effectively be able to see the bottom. With this new ActiveTarget XL, that's going to make it a little bit easier. We're not going to have to make as many adjustments because we've got a little bit bigger of a cone angle going out. Now, one of the other differences between the transducers is going to be the size. The new ActiveTarget XL is a little bit bigger than the ActiveTarget 2 transducer. I'm going to put the sizes up here on the screen so you guys are able to really see it. The last difference that we're going to talk about is going to be the price. It's actually only $100 more to get to that ActiveTarget XL from the ActiveTarget 2 transducer. A couple of the similarities that we're really going to talk about is it's a plug and play with the ActiveTarget 2 module. If you have the ActiveTarget 2 already and you want to get the XL, all you need to do is just purchase the transducer. You do not have to purchase a new black box or sonar module. What that's also going to mean is it's compatible with the same units. So it's going to work with the HDS Carbon, HDS Live, HDS Pro, and the Elite FS units. So those are the main differences between the ActiveTarget 2 and the new ActiveTarget XL transducer. Main things is going to be beam coverage. We're covering a little bit more water with that sonar, picking up the edges of our down mode and scout mode. If you use those, I would definitely recommend the new ActiveTarget XL. If you have a very hard time bait tracking, making sure you're able to see your lure on the screen, I'm going to probably recommend the ActiveTarget XL for you with a wider beam angle. It can be a little bit easier to pick up your lure on the screen. If you're an experienced forward-facing sonar fisherman and you care about making sure you're on the right line and not being behind those fish or off to the side of them, then I recommend staying with that ActiveTarget 2 transducer. If you guys want to get the best settings for the ActiveTarget 2 and when the ActiveTarget XL comes out, check out our website, fishfindercoach.com, for the best settings, and then also how to learn and how to read our forward-facing sonar with our forward-facing sonar video course. Check it out, fishfindercoach.com.